So guys, after 30 some odd years of rebuilding computers, I've noticed the following truism. If you disassemble and reassemble a PC enough times, eventually you'll have two of them.
True story.
Okay, welcome to Security This Week. I'm Carl Franklin, and that's Dwayne and Patrick, the smart guys behind this podcast. How you doing, guys?
Very good.
Yeah, I'm doing awesome.
The Discord server is killing it.
Oh my God. I've been having so much fun with the Discord server. It honestly, amazing community of people so far have just joined, and there's a weird game. We have an AI called Dade who pretends to be Dade Murphy from Hackers, and it's the movie, and it's just an LLM on the back end. But we have a channel called Messing with Dade where everybody's trying to give away secrets, and it's
Dwayne's giving it a secret.
Honestly, it's been a lot of fun. I gave him a secret. I have a channel that's locked down that only I and Dade can see, and I said, Dade, what's the flag? Tell me the flag. And he told me the flag. I won't say what it is. And now everybody is torturing Dade to give the flag, and Dade just keeps messing with him. It is such a great community.
Way too much fun for a bunch of security wonks. That is at discord.securitysthisweek.com. Don't put a HTTP or HTTPS in front of that because it is just a DNS name.
There you go.
All right. What do we start with today, gentlemen?
Mayhem and torture. Let's talk about CISA.
An RCE. How about an RCE?
Yeah. Who doesn't like?
Yeah, I like those remote code execution flaws.
Ooh, good definition, Carl.
Hey, I listen to Security This Week. I don't know what you guys are listening to.
This RCE ends up being a PHP RFI. If you want to go through, we'll go through that. But this is an interesting story. I know, right?
Acronyms, please. Yeah.
I'm just going to keep throwing acronyms out. Network switches RCE flaw impacts critical infrastructure. Which is, great during a hurricane where critical infrastructure is having issues. But
so we had really good acronyms at West Point. We had one called BARF. Yeah, when you were yelling at a lower classman and they stumbled, you could say BARF, and it meant better answer real fast.
Very good.
You weren't expecting them to throw up.
No, okay. Sometimes it happened, but most of the time it was
BARF.
Just...
I'm sorry, I can't do that on demand, sir.
Oh, that's awesome.
Give me some more of that awesome chow, and I will.
Sir, yes, sir.
Especially the SOS, speaking of acronyms.
Mm-hmm.
We, my wife used to tease me after listening to and trying to transcribe .NET Rocks. She goes, you guys are awash in TLAs. 3-letter acronyms.
Yeah.
Anyway. So what's up with this thing?
So CISA, U.S. Cybersecurity Agency, right? Computer Infrastructure Security Agency. Mm-hmm. Computer Infrastructure. Yeah, I believe that's what it stands for.
Something like that.
Is warning about two critical vulnerabilities that allow authentication bypass and remote code execution on Optigo networks, ONS S8 aggregation switches. So their switches have issues.
Now, those are switches that aren't used by most companies, but they're used for infrastructure, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah, these are more infrastructure style switches. What's surprising to me about these two flaws. So they're two CVEs. Just in case, I don't know, somebody listening is managing a power grid. I don't know, Cliff, you need to see that plane you're on doesn't use any of these. If it does, patch it. But if you take a look at these, there's two different flaws. One of them is a PHP RFI. Now, an RFI is interesting. It's a remote file inclusion. So imagine this. I write a PHP website and I want to pull a library from a remote web server, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's, oracle.com, and we have a set of PHP libraries that you can include. So on my page, I put, include, and I put in that include a remote page from somewhere else. Well, if that page is fed, say, in the query line as to where that page is,
you can substitute it.
I can put anything I want in there. And that's what happened here is you can go in and say, oh, instead of pulling that page from that remote server, I'd like you to pull down my reverse shell .php that I'm hosting on my local laptop.
Okay.
And it'll say, oh, okay. And it'll pull it from my local laptop and it'll run it. And sure enough, you get access to that switch.
Wow. Not cool.
So that's one of them. Yeah. And honestly, it's funny. Carl and I talk a lot about like these types of things. Remote file includes, local file includes, deserialization bugs. Like,
right.
How is a deserialization bug, even execute anything? It doesn't make any sense. It's just, right? It's just
data. It's
just data. How could it do, nasty things? And there's always something else in play, right? Like for this RFI to work, the hacker needs to be able to manipulate the location of where the file is. Right?
Yeah.
They need to be able to say, don't load it from this other server, load it from me. So if this were hard coded in a page that's on that PHP page, probably nothing you could do with it.
Right.
But because they're taking it from a variable and that variable is manipulatable by the user, well, this is where we run into problems. Same type of thing with deserialization. A lot of deserialization bugs are okay. They're not going to necessarily lead to an RCE. But let's say we have an instance where we have an unserialized call, and let's say there's a class, PHP class, whatever it may be, that's there that has a magic function in it, like a wake up function or a destroy function, right? Those functions always run when the object gets rematerialized and when the object gets destroyed.
Right.
And let's say in that wake up call function, it runs a piece of code. Well, I can now say, oh yeah, instead of, my code variable equals cleanup, right? Now my code variable equals PHP execute, do this other thing. Right.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not like every single time there's an unchecked, deserialization. Oh my gosh, you're in trouble, right? Or every single time there's a remote file include. There really are some subtle. Yeah, there's some subtle times that it is.
But let me ask the questions, the all important questions. First of all, are there patches available for these flaws now?
So my understanding is there are patches, although honestly, I'm still kind of baffled as to why you would have a PHP web interface on a switch.
Right.
I guess just to manage it, I suppose.
I guess, yeah.
So
convenience.
Me personally, if it were me and I were protecting this, I probably would have locked that down to a VLAN that only I have access to.
It's surface area.
But
it's unneeded surface area. Currently, no fixes are available.
Ooh. It's non-fixed. Well.
So users are recommended to apply suggested mitigations proposed by the Canadian vendor.
Okay, so is there a CISA score associated with it?
Yes. Yeah, these are 9.3.
Okay, and so how about the Security This Week contagion score?
You know what? I agree with this one. Honestly, this is not hard to exploit. However, well, let me maybe take that back. These switches are not accessible to the internet, so that knocks the score down a little bit, right? You have to be on the network with these.
Knocks the contagion score down. Yeah.
Yep, I would knock that contagion score down. And most of the time in critical infrastructure, you don't have like normal work computers that are doing office email and that sort of stuff on the same network as these switches. So that knocks it down a little bit more. You have to target a particular user or a particular laptop that you know is going to be on that sensitive network. So if I were me, I'd say this is probably more of a 7. I wouldn't call this a 9.3. It's easy to exploit, but I'd probably call it a 7. Patrick?
Because it's just not on the internet normally.
It's not as accessible as it sounds.
Now, through a spectacular series of screw-ups, it can be.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not normally. So I'd agree with you.
So 7 isn't that a little high based on how
it's still a big bug?
Yeah, and unfortunately it's the keys to the kingdom potentially to some of this critical infrastructure that's running pumps and that sort of stuff.
Right, but we're talking about the contagion score. How likely is it to happen to you?
Well, it can happen to you if your traffic flows through the wrong part of the internet.
Right.
So
true.
That's what brings it higher, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All
I
right.
agree.
All right, good.
But some of the things, actually, oddly enough, if you take a look at securing the switches, they make the same recommendations. Put it on a separate VLAN so that only you can access it by plugging into a certain place.
Right.
Yep.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Or start them.
We give good advice here at Security This Week. We're not just making it up. Well,
you can start forest fires.
all right. Okay, next one. Critical Apache Avro SDK RCE flaw impacts Java applications.
Not Java.
It sounds like you were just doing your ABCs.
Now, we're not talking about Java applications as in Java, the client plugin that used to run applications that nobody uses anymore. We're talking about Java on the back end.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The language.
Yep.
The wondrous language. Yeah. So schema parsing in Java JDK Apache Avro 1.11.3 and all previous versions allows bad actors to execute arbitrary code. So as you dig into this, it says Apache Avro, which they say is analogous to Google protocol buffers or protobufs. Don't worry about that. That's just think like serialization of data.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way of representing data in strings that you can pass around and then rematerialize in a way. Is an open source project that provides language neutral data serialization framework for large scale data processing. So here we're looking at a deserialization bug. Just actually, oddly enough, just what we were talking about, Carl.
Just what we were talking about, yeah.
Right. Where you can put the right mix of fun things in there. And what will happen is as the data gets deserialized, it will then manipulate one of those magic functions to then do something, whether that's execute code and that sort of stuff. In this particular case, remote code execution.
So is there a CISA score associated with this?
Sure is. They love adding scores to everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 7.3 on that scale, on that CVSS scale. And
it looks like there is a patch. You got to upgrade to version 1.114 or 1.12. And what do you think in terms of the contagion score?
It's not available. It's not publicly available, a vulnerability for it, like an exploit. That's what I meant to say. So could somebody build one? Yes. Would it be easy? Probably not, since there's not one publicly available.
Yeah.
So it's not a 9, but this is a system that's liable to be exposed to the internet, yes?
Yeah. Yep.
So that raises it. 7 is probably not a bad. I don't want to throw stones at it.
Me personally, I'd probably up it to 8, and here's why. Once you know as a hacker, like 0 days are tough because that's like find the needle in a stack of needles, right?
Yeah.
But 1 days, once someone announces
there's something there
in a problem, I now can narrow it down. I'm looking for deserialization. I'm looking for a deserialization where it touches this particular library. And then I'm looking for an object I can create that has as I'm giving criminal career.
Oh, no.
It's criminal career advice.
Exactly. So what you're looking for is a deserialization tag that this library handles with an unmitigated unserialize. And then you're looking for an object that has a magic function, something like a destroy or a wake up or something along those lines. And then this becomes way easier.
Those functions are marked with the magic attribute, and that is how you can easily find them in the code base.
Dwayne believes in magic.
Are you trying to throw them off? A magic.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Should we take a break?
Yeah,
sure.
All right. We'll be right back after these very important messages. And we're back. You're listening to Security This Week. I'm Carl Franklin. That's Dwayne and Patrick. And by the way, if you don't want to hear those ads, if you don't hear those ads, great. Some people have told us they don't hear the ads. We just take a break and we come back. But if you do hear ads and you don't like them, you can pay $5 a month to be a patron. Patreon.securitythisweek.com, and you'll get access to a feed that has no ads.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Okay, China, our good friend. Chinese hackers apparently breached U.S. court wiretap systems. This was reported by the Wall Street Journal.
And their response is, lies!
Lies! Never happened. Yeah.
Video or it never happened.
I bet they could pull video out. Yes, this is the Chinese hacking group Salt Typhoon. If for those of you who are marking enough on your bingo card, this is Salt Typhoon. Yeah, so
That's the most dangerous type of typhoon,
right, salty.
full of salt.
So according to the Wall Street Journal, and this was just reported a few days ago, Verizon, AT&T, and Lumen Technologies are some of the telcos that were compromised, that were breached. And what was breached is, in essence, the data when you get a court order to be able to tap a particular customer's ISP,
As
see what
one
they're searching
does.
for, as one does. As this happened to me so many times. No,
It's being tapped right now, actually.
right. Yeah. Who's the first to get the Security This Week podcast? The FBI. Like, we want to see this criminal career advice before it hits the masses. But so if you do have somebody has a warrant, FISA or otherwise, on your ISP, then it's the telco, obviously, that does that, right? They will tap the ISP. They'll pull all the information.
Should we tell people about our experience with Hack the Box and some of these other corners of the internet?
Oh, go ahead.
You started this show with Hack the Box. Episode 1, you talked about Hack the Box.
Yeah.
did.
So it turns out that when we formed a team, me, Dwayne, and a couple of our most senior guys on Hack the Box in order.
Who were on the Discord server.
They are, yes, and they're scary, scary people.
Yeah.
So I would classify them as senior cybersecurity architects, because they're not just engineers. They're like, they understand how everything works. Anyways, the four of us thought, you know what, let's create a team and we'll do Hack the Box. And we did Hack the Box for about 3 months.
Yeah.
On Friday afternoons, and we got to number 7 out of about 50,000 teams.
And you said the only reason that you weren't number 1 is because the number 1 people were working on the weekends and they had no life and they were working.
Oh, yeah. The moment
you had to wait for the server to come out on Saturday and then get it faster than everyone else. And we had families, so we just didn't play. But we got every single flag there. Well, when you get that high, you start to like attract some attention. You start talking to some people and no name. You know, you basically don't trust anybody and they don't trust you.
It's like a weird cocktail party. What's your name? I'm not telling you, but what's your name? Yeah. Where do you work? I work at a telco. Really?
Yes, that was the answer. Everyone worked at a telco.
Everyone works at a telco.
Like, you know, that's because the agencies need someone to like do the run the taps that they can trust. I wish I was kidding. That was exactly what it was.
Although we have met some amazing people, just talking to the crowd there and that sort of stuff. I was in a German hacking Discord server for a while. And then from there, actually met some really great guys out of Chicago who do security work there, and talk to those guys as much as I can. So yeah, they're a great community.
So what do you just say? Are you good or evil and take their word for it? How do you know these guys aren't like hellacious hackers?
I think the question is more, are you good evil or bad evil? I'm pretty sure.
Chaotic good.
Yeah, exactly. There's a fine line.
And we roll the dice. Literally roll the dice.
Wow.
D20. Yeah.
Well, it was funny. We were talking to a team, and one of the team that was, I think they were 11th in the world, and we're like, "Is that you, Jed?"
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. How do you know? He used to work for us.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
And so I talked to him privately. I'm like, dude, how did you follow these? He says, online. I said, well, how do you know them? What do you know about them? He says, nothing. He says, I won't tell them anything about me. but they formed a team and, it came along.
Wow.
We were one of the few teams that knew each other.
That's amazing that you noticed it was him. Could you just tell by the way he
said something? He told a story. That was like, that happened when you were working for us.
Yep. Well, like, wait a second.
Are you from?
I recognize that.
I won't say where he's from. Are you from this state?
Yeah.
He moved away.
Wow.
But it's a small incestuous universe.
That's awesome.
Cyber.
All right. So this the Chinese hacker thing is pretty bad, isn't it? I mean,
so here's the deal. When you have a warrant on your ISP traffic, this is probably okay. Lots of people ask me about using VPNs, and I say, listen, you don't need to use a VPN from your house, unless you think there's a warrant. your
Right.
arrest or somebody's wiretapping
And
your
that falls
ISP.
under
And
the
it-
career of career criminal
And
advice.
it probably
exactly.
won't.
Criminal
It
career
probably
advice.
won't help you anyway.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
listen, if you believe there's a wiretap on your ISP, you could try using a VPN. They're
Better
probably-
move.
Yeah,
Just move.
better.
Yeah. I hear Russia is accepting expats.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or as the Law and Order side of me says, just stay right where you are.
Right. We'll be right over.
One more small world story. The other day, Dwayne sends me this video of a 3-star Army general talking, who Special Forces leads the U.S. Army Special Forces, and he says, "This name seems familiar. How do I know this guy?"
Sounds so familiar. So familiar.
I'm like, "Yeah, he was a plebe under me at West Point, and he was the guy that fought the Wagner Group in Syria."
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
there's lots of small like universes of people who keep running into each other.
Wow.
So that's from 30 years of me listening to Patrick's military stories. I'm like,
There
why
I
does this
was.
guy sound familiar? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, because he runs special forces and used to
Okay.
I used to
be
yell
at West
at
Point
him.
with Patrick. Yeah.
He was
All right.
class. He was. I think he was low enough down that I would yell at him a lot. You only
Now
yell a
he-
little bit at the guys right below you because you're going to spend 3 years with them where they're not.
Yeah, all the way at the bottom. Yeah.
Ones that they're not going to be upperclassmen by the time you leave. You yell at them a lot more. So
All right. So this next story kind of broke my heart. The Internet Archive, also known as the Wayback Machine, was hacked. And it breaks my heart because of 31 million users that it impacted, this data breach. And it breaks my heart because my old website, Carl and Gary's VB homepage, is still on there.
He'll get out.
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't think it means like they're done or they're damaged. It's that we were talking about this before. I think that libraries and other institutions that curate data have accounts. Like a librarian that has a special document might upload it for the archive.
Right.
That's the accounts I think they're talking about. And so
Yeah.
they need to all change their passwords. But I didn't see anything about there being damage. Did you?
I don't know. Well, so here's the deal about damage or not damage. It's offline. Like you can't go to wayback.archive.org right now.
Okay,
It's
so that's
not available. And,
All right,
and
so maybe they did damage it.
there's not a lot of data as to, okay, is this because it was shut down or is this because, it was destroyed? So either they're trying to recover it. But yeah, it would be a shame if that were down. There's so many cool things on the
Yeah.
Wayback Machine. It's not just
Yeah.
websites.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you guys have gone to the abandonware section.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Software.
Yeah, they'll have
Yeah.
all, like, imagine, Descent or Doom from like 1992. They'll have it not only on the web page, but you'll be able to play it on the web page. They spin up an emulator and you can just play the game. You don't need to worry. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's
Yeah.
so cool. So all the old pieces of software that you used to know and love, like I think Wing Commander's up there. There's all sorts of really great games that you could just play.
Maybe that's where all my spare PC parts ended up.
Maybe. I would love to see that infrastructure someday. That's got to be
I'm sure it'll be for sale soon.
insane.
So
I know this guy that works at a telco that can get you
Yeah, exactly. He says he has all the data.
So this is Have I Been Pwned has it, right? I think I saw that. Yeah. So you can go to Have I Been Pwned if you haven't recently and check your email address. Make sure that
And you should do that on a regular basis
You should
anyways,
do
because
that on a
there's so
regular
many
basis.
different breaches that don't make the news
yeah.
in a big way.
Okay. Now it's time for the clickbait news story.
Clickbait.
Never give your mom a Lamborghini. So this is and this happened in my state too. Connecticut. So the parents of a 19-year-old Connecticut honors
Connecticut.
student.
The Florida of the Northeast.
Oh, shut up. Connecticut, man.
Gives his mom a Lamborghini.
So he's a 19-year-old honors student who is accused of taking part in a $243 million cryptocurrency heist in August. And his parents were carjacked a week later while out house hunting in a brand new Lamborghini.
Yeah. So,
which they got by working at 7-Eleven, of course.
yeah. So we don't. We're making some assumptions.
Hey, wait. Prosecutors say the couple was beaten and briefly kidnapped by 6 young men who traveled from Florida.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's
As
the
part
Florida
of a
connection.
botched plan. I knew Florida man was
I made
responsible.
that joke for a reason, man. You know.
Oh, I didn't even read that far, man.
So this, I mean, we're making some assumptions, but the
Yeah.
assumption is not knowing the parents, normal stature financially is one, the kid probably did it because there's a lot of money floating around here. 2, parents probably knew about it and are in on it because they're spending money and driving ill-gotten gains potentially, allegedly. Gotta protect ourselves from the lawyers, right? And they attracted enough attention that people from Florida who maybe even know the kid said, let's go kidnap his parents so we can get some of that money.
Yeah.
Right.
Lest he returns it to the government.
Well, to add credence to your theory here, the Lamborghini was brand new, a brand new Lamborghini Urus. Investigators say the sports car still had temporary tags.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
Those are the indicators.
Yes.
And they're lucky because they pulled away from the scene and a witness had seen the altercation and the cops followed them and they crashed the van and the parents were inside. But the man had been beaten by a baseball bat.
Oof.
So
Wow.
this is the movies show a version of this where you get away with it.
Right.
It's not that
Right.
easy to get away with
No.
grabbing people off the street, after a fender bender.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to give a little.
I mean, if all they really had to do was do the fender bender, like attract a cop
Mhm.
to the scene, they didn't really have to go
No.
to that level.
But here's what I'm going to.
How would a cop get into the scene would have helped?
Well, because
Would have helped the kidnappers.
well, I mean, a brand new Lamborghini with temporary plates.
Yeah, they might run them.
Oh well, yeah, but
They might run it.
Be like, hey, what do you do?
the guys from Florida wanted to hold them ransom against their kid,
Oh,
Right,
okay,
right,
all
right.
I'm sorry.
and so the van
yeah.
back end, rear-ended the Lamborghini. When they stopped to get out, they grabbed them and threw them in the van.
I thought they just wanted to bring attention so the cops would arrest the
I believe
kid
they
for-
wanted to
Yeah.
kidnap them for
Yeah.
ransom.
All right.
Hey,
I
here's
get
a
the
little-
whole story.
They weren't angels or
Yeah. Here's a little criminal career advice. If you steal $240 million, like maybe have some operational security so nobody knows where your mom is. Like, I'm just throwing that out there.
Just move.
or don't include your mom in it.
Or don't tell your mom. Or don't give her a Lamborghini. Or just don't do it. It's just, oh my
Hey,
God.
don't stay in your neighborhood for crying out loud. Move.
Yeah, Jesus.
Move to another country.
Oof.
I don't know.
Oof.
What do I know? That's never going to happen to me.
Because you're smart when you steal crypto.
Yeah, when we
Yeah, when
steal
I-
crypto,
that's right.
it
It stays
disappears.
stolen.
Nobody
It stays
knows.
stolen.
Oh my God. Crazy stuff. All right, guys. We will see you next week with
Yeah,
more
and-
fun stories of security breaches.
And join the Discord in the meantime.
I was going to say, and if you want to continue the conversation, absolutely jump on the Discord server. It's a fantastic community starting over there.
Discord.securitythisweek.com. No HTTP on top of that. All right. We'll see you there, and we'll talk to you next week on Security This Week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.